So in this presentation, I am going to be exploring school breakfast and if it's important, if it's not important, and why it's important. Okay, so we are always told that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So I wanted to explore if that was true, if it's not true, why or why not, and then what happens to the students that don't have access to breakfast. So I found that yes, of course, breakfast is very important. I think most of us have discovered that in our lives. It's important because at nighttime you're not feeding your body, so your glucose levels are going to be low, your energy is going to be low. And then without something in the morning to kickstart that, you'll be struggling and you'll be sleepy and your brain won't be fully awake. So in a study I found on extension.org, children who do not eat breakfast at home or at school were less able to learn. Hunger can lead to lower math scores, attention problems, and behavior, emotional, and academic problems. Furthermore, studies show that children who are consistently or often hungry are more likely to repeat a grade. So this is concerning to read about because so many students go without something that is so vital to their success. I'm not claiming that having a breakfast will solve all of the students' problems in the classroom. However, it will provide them fuel for their day. So to further research this problem, I used several disciplines. I used science, I used education, and I used sociology and nutrition. So up first is science and nutrition. Eating breakfast won't matter in the morning if your food that you're eating is not healthy. Students who eat a low glycemic balanced breakfast may have better concentration and more positive reactions to difficult tasks than students who eat more carbohydrate breakfast. So things that should be eaten are eggs, oatmeal, bananas, yogurt, things like that. There was also a study that was interesting to read that male and female students require different nutrients as well as different age groups. So males require a certain type of breakfast, females require a certain type of breakfast. Elementary school students and high school students were all different. We all require different things. So that I'll touch on again in the education portion. The time of breakfast is also important. Routinely eating breakfast 2 hours prior to being tested does not improve cognitive functions in 11 to 13-year-old elementary school students, but food supplementation 30 minutes prior to taking a test notably does improve scoring. So this proves that food or breakfast should be served at school for the best results. This brings me to my next discipline, which is sociology, because there are many other factors in a child's life that might affect their school day, make it harder. School might be the only time a student is provided a meal. A common reason people skip breakfast is that they are simply not hungry in the morning. To them, skipping breakfast is just deferring their first meal until later in the day. But for many low-income kids, skipping breakfast means going without food when they're actually hungry. So then their brain is only going to be thinking about how hungry they are and not what the teacher is trying to teach them. In a 2015 study, Share Our Strength found that 3 out of 4 public school teachers say that students regularly come to school hungry, and 81% say it happens at least once a week. I personally am a substitute at Prince Edward County Schools for the middle school and elementary school, and they have a breakfast program, but some of the students still decide not to eat in the morning, and I can definitely tell with their behavior and their functions and ability to participate. So yes, breakfast is provided in the cafeteria, but that carries a stigma with it. Despite the benefits of school breakfast, the program is underutilized. Over 22 million kids get a free or reduced price school lunch on an average school day, yet only 12 million of those kids actually get the breakfast. So that means half of those students are choosing not to eat because social status in schools, it can be embarrassing in their social groups. Attendance is another factor with obviously performing well in the classroom and performing well on exams and tests. But in a study I found, in both situations with attendance, breakfast still helped improve the test scores. So this still proves how vital breakfast is no matter what. This brings me to the last discipline, which is education, because teachers obviously see this problem firsthand. They can help solve this problem. In order to bring breakfast into the classroom, there has to be policy changes and classroom management with behavioral and rules. And allergies are important, what kids can or cannot have. Adding breakfast to the classroom does not have to change the whole day. Prince Edward County schools have buckets, like I mentioned earlier, that students bring in. There's milk, there's cereal, there's other breakfast foods, there's bananas and cantaloupe and apples that they can pick from. And when they walk in, they pick their breakfast, they unpack their books and their book bags, and they get everything organized. They socialize a little bit, get some of their talking out of their system, and then they're ready to start their day. And a study at Virginia Tech in 2018, primary school students are more likely to eat a nutritional breakfast when given 10 extra minutes to do so. So there doesn't have to be a whole change to their day. The same study from Virginia Tech, the number of school breakfasts consumed increased by 20% when students were given 10 extra minutes to eat in the cafeteria, and an additional 35 to 45% when breakfasts were served inside the classrooms, bringing the overall rate of breakfast consumption close to 100%, which is awesome, and I think every school should have that percentage. So problem improvement. A grant wouldn't be needed for funding, so I'd pick a school system and conduct surveys. I would try to model Prince Edward County Schools program because I can see it firsthand and I think it's awesome. No one is embarrassed from picking out of the bucket because literally every student gets a breakfast out of the bucket. There's no stigma with it. The questions I will ask are, do you usually eat breakfast? Did you eat breakfast this morning? Do you notice a difference in your day when you do or do not eat breakfast? And then after receiving these questions, I would talk to the teacher and determine how each of the students behave and learn on a daily basis. It's important to collect real data in specific school systems because in order to solve this problem, we will need funding from a grant, like I mentioned, and we'll need to be able to show there's a problem. In conclusion, breakfast is very important for a child's education career. School should be a safe and happy place for students where they feel loved and taken care of. They should be able to flourish and do their best job and their best work under the best circumstances. Here's my works cited.